Hello, my name is Jim Wade. I'm a tax attorney here in Maine, and I help taxpayers resolve their IRS problems once and for all. And in this continuing series on tax liens, I'm going to be talking about how to prevent them. More specifically, the notice of federal tax lien. Because by law, if you get notice of a balance due and do not pay it, by operation of law, meaning it happens automatically, a lien arises in favor of the Internal Revenue Service. But that's only known between you and the IRS. But the IRS has the ability to later file what is called a notice of federal tax lien, which is where all the problems start coming about. And we talked in the second episode about, hey, this is the impact of a notice of federal tax lien on you, where it impacts your credit, transferring property, et cetera, et cetera. So how do we prevent a notice of federal tax lien? That's what we're talking about today. It is a short list, so this will be a short video, because generally speaking, the IRS considers this tax lien to be the least intrusive collection tool they can use, which also provides them with a good, I guess you'd call it, for lack of a better term, return on the investment of their time and effort. So they're going to do it in almost every case. However, if you have an outstanding balance due of under $10,000, they generally will not file a notice of federal tax lien. It's not guaranteed. I have seen some for less than 10,000, and I've seen some for substantially more than 10,000. Where someone owes more than $10,000 and they haven't filed a lien. I guess that's a better way to say it. If you have a balance due of $25,000 or less, the IRS will not file that lien notice if you enter into a streamlined, guaranteed, or in-business trust fund payment plan. So if you know that you're going to owe money of $25,000 or less, you can get into the payment plan and stop a lien filing altogether. Now, we talked in the previous video how to remove a notice of federal tax lien. If you owe $25,000 or less, you can get into one of these agreements, make 3 payments, and the notice of federal tax lien will be removed. So you really want to get ahead of it if you can. You could also get this notice of federal tax lien removed if filing it will hamper tax collections. This is a pretty steep hill to climb, but if you can show the IRS that, hey, do not file the lien, we're working on getting a refinance, selling property, things along those lines, and we'll get this taken care of to pay it down to below the 25K or 10K or pay it off completely, the IRS should sort of forbear filing that notice of federal tax lien. However, the IRS is going to be paying attention to something else, though. Not only are they going to be looking to you to show them that it's in their favor to not file it, you need to be making all your tax payments on time and filing on time. So there's a compliance piece to that. If you do have the ability to file a bond or set up a collateral agreement, they won't find this sort of general notice of federal tax lien. But I put it there because it exists as an option. But I think for most people who are listening to this, that having it below 10K or getting into a payment plan for a balance that's less than 25K, or sorry, maybe I shouldn't abbreviate, $10,000 or less than $25,000 if you have a payment plan, that will avoid it. For other people, if you're in the rare circumstance where you can sort of get it paid if you just have the IRS sort of hold off on filing it, then you may qualify for that. The other circumstance where you might get them to avoid filing the lien is if it's going to cost you your job. So you might be able to get them to forbear on that, but it's very hard. So very short list of what you could do. One of the complications about it is that by the time you know that a tax lien exists, a notice of federal tax lien exists, it's already been filed. Because what will happen is the IRS is not going to tell you. They'll file the notice, then they'll send you a letter saying, oh, by the way, we filed this lien. If you want to contest it, you can request a collection due process hearing. You can then make your best pitch as to why they should withdraw it, but it's there. So, that's kind of the rub, because we're talking about preventing them. But to a certain extent, if you feel that you might be able to provide some good reasons why the IRS should not file that notice of federal tax lien, through that collection due process hearing, you may be able to get it removed, withdrawn. So anyways, that's an option there. If the notice of federal tax lien was filed in error, meaning the IRS either didn't follow all the rules, or maybe the IRS had an improper assessment of tax, meaning you shouldn't owe it, then you can sort of set up this, what they call a collection appeals program hearing, and get it removed. So those are your options as far as preventing a notice of federal tax lien, because there's no chance you're going to prevent the lien altogether, because if you owe money, it's going to be there. If you have a case where maybe they did it in error, you can get it removed, you would use that collection appeals program to do that. So that concludes our series on tax liens and notices of federal tax liens. In the next series, we'll be talking about, sort of the IRS payment plans. What are they? What can you do? We'll go into a little, we'll talk a little bit about that 25K or less streamlined installment agreement. But anyways, hope you found this helpful. If you have questions, certainly feel free to reach out to us by phone or by email. It's an absolute pleasure, and I'm doing this on Veterans Day. So if you're a veteran listening to this, happy Veterans Day. Thank you for your service. And to everyone else, have a great weekend.